Welcome all of you to tonight's Golden Kite Gala. Tonight is the night when the children's book community celebrates its own. It also coincides with being Oscar weekend, when the motion picture industry celebrates its own. But if you ask me, the motion picture industry cannot hold a candle to our industry.
We do this work for the children. That is our modus operandi. In the end, we answer for the children, to the children. And I cannot think of a better person to exemplify that than the gentleman I am here to introduce. Yes, he's sold over 300 million books. Yes, he's topped the Forbes list of highest paid authors year after year. Yes, he's brought us Alex Cross and I Funny. Yes, he's married to Susan and the father of Jack. Yes, he received the Literarian Award in 2015 from the National Book Foundation. Yes, he's donated multi-millions of dollars to teachers and librarians and booksellers and schools. But today I want to tell you that he answers to children. Give it up for James Patterson, y'all.
Lynn told me that my job is I should not leave the stage until literally everyone in the audience is asleep. I wasn't exactly an overnight success. My first novel, The Thomas Behrman Number, was rejected by 31 publishers. 31 painful failures, 31 knives to the heart, but then a twist ending, which is my specialty. The Thomas Behrman Number won an Edgar for Best First Mystery. And I still keep the names of all the editors who turned me down. And the reason I got into doing kids' books is I had a kid. Sue and I had a kid. He's to blame. And then typical of me, who can't leave a good thing alone, I then started an imprint for children, books at Little Brown called Jimmy. And I think this is interesting to think about. The mission of Jimmy Books goes like this. When a kid finishes a Jimmy book, they'll say, please give me another book, okay? And I really think that's sort of smart and really important, actually, because there are millions of kids in this country who have never read a single book that they love, okay? That's a cold, hard fact. I have a small, humble request for the gatekeepers in the room. Please be very, very careful with those gates. Please don't get in the way of kids reading for pleasure. And that includes a lot of state governments and whatever. Not everyone can or should go to Harvard or Brown or RISD or Parsons or even to college. And that's why I think that mission of Jimmy Books is useful. When a kid finishes a book, they should say, please give me another book. And, for millions of kids, this isn't happening. It just isn't. And kids not reading is a life and death situation. I am not exaggerating when I say that, and I have visited dozens of prisons. Had they read as kids, a lot of them would not be there, okay? A scary fact is there are states that estimate future needs for prison space based on third grade reading levels. That's when I say it's a life and death thing, I'm not kidding. I recently came across a terrific idea watching reruns of Friday Night Lights. And I think it can serve as kind of a cool guide and inspiration for all of us, illustrators and writers and publishers and editors and critics and agents, for everyone in this room. And I wish everybody in the world could do this. And the line and the idea is clear eyes, full heart. Okay, thank you so much.
Ashley's beautifully crafted text allows readers everywhere to walk its paths, lounge and picnic on its lawns, and stroll through this urban oasis. Congratulations to Ashley Benham Yazdani and a green place to be, the creation of Central Park, this year's Golden Kite Book Award for picture book text.
When I think of all the smart, powerful, and fun books that were published in 2019, it makes me feel absolutely astonished to be here. I'd like to thank, first of all, the SCBWI, Lynn Oliver, and everyone who selected my book for this award. I'm so grateful for this honor. Central Park lies 17 blocks uptown and 3 blocks west of here. If you haven't ever visited, then I encourage you to go. Now is the perfect chance. There, you will find yourself in an outdoor space that is in places so serene that you will forget you're in the heart of New York City. The park feels eternal, like it has always been this way, and perhaps the creators of it just put up a few bridges and laid down a few paths. And yet, the landscape of the park is completely artificial. It's a marriage of careful design and purposeful conservation. The land that became Central Park once belonged to the Lenape Indians until it was taken from them. Much of it was given to industry, and a bit of it became the home to the free black people of Seneca Village until it was taken from them and eventually given to posterity as Central Park. And indeed, the park's history of the land there involves several instances of colonists or the wealthy plundering resources from folks with darker skin and inflicting environmental ruin on their land. Their stories deserve to be told, too. And what I dream is that our descendants, several generations down the line, will look back at all of us alive here in 2020 at what is hopefully a positive turning point in history and say, those people stood up and changed the world when it really mattered. They did something good, something critically important. Thank you.
In my classes at Pratt and Parsons, I have the students once a semester make a list of all their favorite books so that they can track down the publishers and find out who it is they want to stalk when they go after trying to get published themselves. And Haewon Yum she's always got a book on their list. What I really admired about her art, and what I think probably got her the award, is that she's able to take a look at not just the visuals and using textures and snippets of collage and things that are fabulous, but she captures all the humor, all the angst that an older sister would have, and she takes all that whimsy, rolls it up, and leaves something for the children who are looking at it to bring to the story themselves, to use their own imagination to kind of finish some of the action. It's as much a treat for the eye as it is for the heart. And for that reason, I do believe that's why she won for Clever Little Witch. Haewon, would you come up and receive your award for the Golden Kite for picture book illustration?
I'm so honored to be here tonight. I'm very lucky. I was given this award for my first book 11 years ago. So this is my second time making this speech. Still, I'm not very good at it. But now I know better what this award means. It was given by my very talented peers. It's like they're tapping on my shoulder and smiling with the recognition, saying, I haven't done that bad all these years. It means so much. I'm really grateful. Thank you. And many thanks to SCBWI. If you give me this award one more time, I think I can make better speech. Thank you.
Please join me in congratulating Deborah Heiligman on her 2020 Golden Kite Award.
I've thought a lot about community and what people do for each other, what people can and should do for each other over the past 5 years working on Torpedoed. It is, I believe, at its heart, even though it is a tragedy, or maybe because it is a tragedy, a book about community. As soon as I started researching the city of Benares, I saw that it was a story with plot, arc, suspense, drama, and amazing real people. I was intellectually charged up, excited to be working on a book that I thought could be compelling for children both as history and story. As I worked longer, the people in the story, the community of the story, began to have a profound effect on me as a person. In some tragic events, heroes are born out of ordinary people. In the case of the Benares, this was true over and over again. As much as it is a story filled with untimely and useless death, it is one replete with courage and bravery, friendship, love, support, altruism, all the components of a beautiful community. Time and time again, I was struck by how this tragedy brought out the best in people, so many going out of their way to help others. I don't think it's a stretch to say that, although we have not been torpedoed exactly, those of us who create books for children need each other, need the love, support, the friendship, the resources the SCBWI has to offer.
How do you get a 6-year-old to be excited about chemists and chlorofluorocarbons? It's not so hard if you have Mario and the Hole in the Sky, How a Chemist Saved Our Planet. It's written by Elizabeth Rush, illustrated by Teresa Martinez, and published by Charles Bridge.
Mario and the Hole in the Sky is a real-life hero story about how a boy's interest in science led him to literally save our planet, and what his story means for the fight against global climate change. But I have been amazed at what a community of people coming together can accomplish. Sometimes it feels like we live in a dark world. Many of the problems that we humans face are of our own making. But the human spirit is strong. Together, we can fix our mistakes. We can work with all countries, all cultures, all people. We can work together. It is possible. We saved our planet once, and we can do it again.
This book is all about promises and possibilities. The idea that regardless of odds, love can and will prevail, not only on the page, but in their lives as well. It is a lighthouse of hope. And so I'm thrilled to present The Golden Kite for YA fiction to Julie Berry and Lovely War.
Justice demands that the truth be spoken aloud, accurately and unflinchingly, without fear of reprisal. Now, truth is complex, confusing, often paradoxical, contradictory. As storytelling constantly reminds us, truth can be subjective, incomplete, and fraught with bias and error. It can seem elusive. How can we know anything for sure? The process of writing, and I'm sure illustrating also, demands of creators a sustained, thoughtful focus on one fundamental question. What is it like to be someone else? What is it like to live in a particular time and in a particular place? What is the truth of the history, the science, the politics, the art, the religion, the culture of that world, real or imagined? Not the stereotypes, not the snarky opinions of distant critics, not the Wikipedia answers. The whole, full, nuanced truth as seen by those who lived it. We owe it to the young people we love to be believers in and advocates for and voices of grace and truth, kindness and justice. We can do better than to repeat the errors of our grandparents' generation. But it won't happen without conscious effort on our part.
Thank you, Padma, for the gift of these kids. And I also love they have the most hilarious conversations about God and about the meaning of life, and they understand the absurdities of life. And I think kids just fall into this and have so much fun with it. So thank you. I'm thrilled that you got this honor, this award, and come on up.
My first kite wasn't golden. I tried to fly it only to watch it fall repeatedly. Before and after, I fought for diversity. Like my first kite, most attempts crashed. But I kept speaking and writing. This January, I received a phone call from Lynn Oliver. That day, I was too delighted for words. But that night, in joyous delirium, I wrote, just as I'd written, through terror and tragedy as a child. Because that's what writers do. We write. As the immortal Anne Frank said, I'm grateful to God for giving me this gift of expressing all that is in me. What makes us writers is time spent ignoring phones and focusing on pens, years of learning craft at conferences like this, honing skills not just by writing, but by reading and rereading books, coming together in nurturing communities like ours here, pouring energy into words when alone. We believe words have power to fuel imagination, inspire invention, increase empathy, and ignite change. We write and watch our books drift away like kites whose paths we can't control. And when, I say when because even Jane Yolen says she gets rejections, when stormy skies rip up our kites, we must hold ourselves together and keep trying to fly, because we never know when the breeze will be just right and our books may be gilded by the love of others.
Where are the funny books? This is a question that kids ask librarians and teachers and booksellers all the time. Kids love to laugh, but funny books do more than that. Silly is the door to serious. Humor leads straight to the heart. Big laughs can help kids tackle big issues. This is why I'm so proud that the SCBWI has this award, and it looks different than all the others, so you won't get mixed up with it. The Sid Fleischman Award for Humor. I can't think of another organization in the kidlit world that recognizes humor for the serious work it's doing. So it's my great honor to present this year's Sid Fleischman Award for Humor to Remy Lai for her very funny and very important Pie in the Sky.
That sometimes publishing makes you feel like you'll never be enough. And I know the writers here can understand that. And I don't know about the agents and editors because they're not really people. Because like my agent, I think my agent and my editor are not people because they always make me feel really excited about writing, and they always make me feel like they believe that I can do things. And I wish that I can like strap them to myself all the time, but not possible. So I kind of have to depend on myself to kind of enjoy the little victories. And yeah, and so today I'm going to accept that today I am enough, and so I'm going to be boring today. And so if later you all talk to me and I'm boring, no, it's not because I'm boring, but because I made a choice to be boring today. And say that my book is about this kid who moves to a new country and he doesn't speak the language, so he can't make new friends, so he's lonely, and he's also dealing with feelings of grief and guilt about his dad's death. And I know that sounds really, really depressing, and if you want to lighten the mood and you want to hear some jokes, then when we go outside, you have to buy my book and read it. Thank you.